New era, great reset, what do you want to call it? New age. Can we get off this new age? What is that anyways? I am going to tell you something that's happening to our planet that some people might tell you is bad. I'm going to tell you how amazing it is. This shift, that great reset, let's see, recalibration. Somebody said they liked that. The recalibration of what we're doing, of all the foundations happening right now. I'm going to tell you what it is. I'm going to ask you if you're actually going into this, because maybe you need to see it different if you're in fear at all. Great things are happening. You ready? Let's go. Welcome to Landria Onkka on YouTube, here to help you break through those fears and live an amazing life. You know, I have something really cool to tell you today. So stick with me here because we're going to talk about a big shift. Yeah, another one. It never stops. But sometimes we have bigger shifts than others. This is like a constant thing going. Somebody said, we're always in a shift. I said, yes, we are. And if you feel this, you know that time is still off. People are still not functioning the same way we were. That's not going to go away. The other thing I want to share with you is what's happening with how we live, and how what's happening out there is shifting us into the great recalibration of how we have functioned as human beings. And by the way, if you want to break through fear, go into Manifest Anything down below, free emails. And I have some really great things for you because I want you to come out of fear and learn how to deal with it. It's going to be there. Now, what do I mean by that? There's a lot of fear out there. Now, remember, I've shared with you, if you've been watching me for a while, you know that I'm telling you that there are great shifts between, and it's not black or white or, you know, whatever. There's a lot of gray in here. There are endless frequencies and dimensions. But what's happening is the lower frequencies are going to battle harder to stay in control because they just don't know the difference. And the other ones who are awakening are going into the Great Awakening. So we're going to shift more and more into consciousness. What does that mean? We're no longer relying on the material world to be happy. We can experience it and enjoy it. I don't want you to think that being awakened means that you have to be some broke person out there, or that you don't need anything. You don't need anything. You know, the N-word, we don't use the N-word on here. I don't need anything really to make me happy. I have everything. But that's the point. When you go into awakening and you're okay with that, it actually creates an opening for all of that to come in, because now you don't have a barrier of, can I get it? If I meditate enough, can I get the stuff? Because it'll make me happy. And you get the stuff, and like, you need more stuff, right? We're going into a completely different shift right now. And that is what? It's understanding that we don't need anywhere near what we have thought we did. You know, it was really funny because, not so funny, one of our neighbors, we have an online group, you know, for the email for the whole neighborhoods and surrounding neighborhoods. Somebody said they took in their daughter's friend off the street and did an emergency foster situation. She was a single mom, so she doesn't have a lot. She asked us for certain items, bedding and some just, you know, the basics for this girl so that she could have her own bedroom. One of the things she asked for was an Xbox. And I thought, where's the disconnect there? Now, not to be judged because I don't have kids and I don't know what, you know, they need, but I'll tell you one thing. The new world, the recalibration is that we are going to learn how to create what is truly happy and good for us without all the stuff that is going to go into a dump somewhere or our oceans. We have to make these decisions. I'm going to talk to you about every area of your life today. Let's start with what you eat. We don't need fast food. We don't need all the junk that we eat. Packaged, whatever it is, has chemicals. We don't need to eat anywhere near what we do. Now, you'll find that if you're struggling with that, it's not only because of the chemicals, but because we just don't need the volume of things. You don't need a lot to be happy. In fact, we're finding out that having a lot is actually a burden, because having all those things doesn't make you happy. It's just more things to take care of. Now, I'm not saying that you shouldn't live in a beautiful home or all these other things. I certainly have experienced all of that. But I'm going to tell you what, I'm learning to live so much simpler, and how amazing that is. I've been happy in every place I've been in. And sometimes you just want to experience those things, and there's nothing wrong with that. So let's get it out of our head that that's wrong and this is right. We don't need other people to be awakened for us. And when you argue with somebody, you're in totally ego and you are not awakened. I can't express that enough, because I hear that frequently, that people want others to be different because you want them to be awakened or agree with you, or you push your stuff on there. Shut your pie hole. You don't need to tell them all this stuff. Be the example. Be the example. People will say, wow, you glow, or you seem so happy. And then you only have to say, yeah, it's just a lifestyle. I was just interviewed on a talk show, and they asked me one of these Oprah kind of questions. I'm like, don't ask me these questions. I don't know what to say. If you were stranded on an island. Well, they asked me what's spirituality, and I knew that one right off the bat. A way of life. It's a way of life. Spirituality is just a higher frequency way of life, but that is endless. It could be here, and you could still be struggling with fear and other things. Doesn't mean you're not awakened. There's no right or wrong or awakened and dense. There are degrees, and all of us are going into that space, but if you are the example, those others that you think should awaken will come with you. We are learning how to live a simpler life. We are not seeking the lottery or the stocks or whatever it is, Bitcoin, whatever it is you are looking to save you. We're looking at the material world as an accent, a bonus to the spirituality, the spiritual beings that we are, because we don't get to experience a physical world after we transition from here. It's just, the density's gone. You will still take your frequency with you. That remains, because you're still experiencing individualism choices. That's what we're going to do. So even though you go into the quantum field, you still continue your teachings, your learnings, and then you will come back in different spaces to experience whatever. You can be a cloud. You could be on another planet. It could be anything. It could be things you can't even imagine, right? We couldn't imagine. The Great Reset is learning how to live in these foundations completely different. How do we eat? What do we consume in our homes? We have to learn completely different ways of that. No plastic, anything. I'm going to give you an example, and I'm going to try in every video show you something that you can use that will eliminate all of these things. It's going to be super healthy for you, with no chemicals, with no plastics, okay? I keep trying new products. If you have suggestions, I want to hear them. LandriaOnkka.com has Healthy Choices is a whole page where I list these things that you can try, because I've tested a lot of them, right? Especially my teeth. I don't, great, toothpaste is good for you, but your teeth are dingy. We don't have to give up any of that stuff. All right, people that you think should be awakened, that's a judgment. They are awakened. We all came from that. We actually really all are. It's the facade that isn't. All right, so the Matrix program here is for us to not know what we are. They are awakened. They're just experiencing what it's like to not be awakened. Can you be okay with that? They are your best teachers. How am I going to behave with them? Am I going to be example, or am I going to tell them what they're going to do? And I'm not going to talk to you. And zero tolerance, you saw my video. What does that mean? It doesn't mean you cut off everybody who doesn't act the way you want them to. It's accepting that behavior and not tolerating the results of it. It's not cutting them off to be, because you disapprove of them. It is simply saying we're not on the same frequency. I love you, but it's your neutral zone here. So if somebody's doing something abusive or whatever, it's the abuse and the solutions you give to that. And you actually help them to find other solutions so that these things don't happen. It's not cutting people off because you disapprove. I gotta get this out here because I'm hearing some responses that are nowhere near zero tolerance non-participation. All right? So if I don't like something, if there's pollution, I need to get my butt out there and clean it up and not blame them and tell them that they should do it, but show other ways. So if we don't have plastic and things, it won't be out there. We have to recalibrate how we live financially. All right? That's not an easy one. So how do I live financially simpler? And how do I create a lifestyle for myself? You guys have seen this. This is part of what I offer. Let's get this in check. Let's get this in check. Let's get what we give out there in check. Loving, giving, placing others first. And then what do I do for a living? What do I contribute on the planet? What are you doing for a living? You guys, come on over. We're creating businesses, spiritually conscious businesses. I have a new business opening up too where I'm going to actually coach people on spiritually conscious businesses. Because we could create online businesses all day. And I can order from countries that, don't give a crap about the planet. We don't want to do that. It's not about making money. It is about earning abundance and income through great benefits. And so you're actually giving more than you're getting back. And you can get back a lot and give even more, right? That exists. It's a completely different way of life. This is the recalibration. This is huge happening. Do you feel it? Are you shifting into it? Do you feel that you physically are shifting into different ways of life? You cannot live in that lower matrix existence and go into the new earth. It's impossible. It's a completely different floor in the mansion. So if you want to get up to that top floor in the penthouse, you cannot go up there if you are still groveling in the darkness, right? We're allowed to do that. Those people who choose darkness are our greatest teachers. We're learning how to deal with that in a different way. That's the last step. How do I react to that? Am I still disapproving, punishing, cutting people off because you're not what I think you should be? And then you get emotional. You'll know if you're coming from ego. You'll get upset about it. I had a recent situation where somebody I dearly loved that was not, I didn't feel that we resonated. And I'm sure she felt like that too. And I didn't need to address anything. But we both knew it was not a good match. There's no discussion that has to take place. They'll want to. They're going to want to tell you how wrong you are and what you should be doing. But you have to be able to walk away, and this is the new reaction is, I will not get engaged, non-participation. I will not become engaged in your drama. But you don't have to go into it. So I'm hearing people still going into it. Step away from the drama. Your new recalibration, your new reaction is now, how do I handle this differently? You guys, I have got new courses coming out that will teach you how to handle everyone. Breakthrough fear right now. If you go into my free Manifest Anything, if you're not in it already, I have a discount just for a few days as of this video. All right? Why? Because I have a new course coming out. People in Breakthrough Fear, 5-star course. Why am I getting 5 stars? I'm teaching people how to deal with every single one of these problems. They don't become problems anymore. Then all of a sudden it's like, I learned from this. Ooh, how am I handling this? I learned from this. Ooh, how did I handle that? It's all about you and your reaction and action and thoughts and beliefs. It's about you, and we have to recalibrate all this. And all of a sudden that looks very different. And then when you do that, the reality out there changes. So when somebody says how things are, I say, it is for you. I don't see the world. Well, I'm looking through different colored glasses. I'll have to pull my rose-colored glasses out again. Oh, you have rose-colored glasses on, and they'll try and, insult you. It's impossible. You can't insult an awakened person. It's impossible. They see past it. They don't say, you're dense. They say, you're beautiful. You just don't know it yet, and you need to make me wrong. And that's okay, because it doesn't bother me. You can say anything you want to me. I know what I am. I know what you are. I know when you say that stuff, I know what you are. You just don't know it yet, and you have to make somebody wrong. So you just deal with it differently. So there's no conflict. There's no conflict. This is when you can step away, but you don't step away because you're punishing somebody or calling them wrong. This is not an easy thing to do. Come on over and take Breakthrough Fear. If you go to landriaonkka.com, you can check it out. My website's completely changing. I'm taking it up a notch. I actually teach you how to do the Jedi mind trick. It works. It actually works. All right, so why you need to know what you are. You're that powerful. We're recalibrating and knowing. Instead of blaming the world out there, guess what? I am the world. I am connected to absolutely everything. This space here is all intelligence. Everything is. Everything. And that's me. There's no separation between us. I teach you this. I want you to know what you are. And so when we go into this consciousness, our whole world changes because we will no longer be able to eat garbage or chemically laden foods or fast foods or we can't. You just can't do it. You know, I took a cockroach outside. Yeah, I saw a cockroach, all right? I took him outside. Now, you're not going to be able to do this every time. And some of you go, okay, that's too far. Fine. It's too far for you. It's not too far for me. So can we know that you don't have to be like I think you should, or vice versa? And that person who wants you to change or makes fun of you, bless them and say, you can't hurt my feelings. And don't have the conversation. Don't tell them to shut your pie hole. But you can think it. Shut your pie hole. I don't need to have this conversation. However, don't have the conversation. Don't engage in conflict. That's you having to defend yourself. That's the ego. I know this is not easy stuff, but this is the recalibration, reset of everything in every area of your life. How have I been handling it? How have I dealt with things? Has it caused anxiety or any kind of fear or whatever? Right down to your finances. How do I change that so that I can live a simpler life and freedom? Do what you want. Why do I point to this? Get training. Oh, it's difficult. Okay, then don't do it. Don't do it. Spiritual bucket. Then don't do it. You don't want skills. You want to sit there and get, and then when something happens, you go, oops, I wish I'd have had that training online. I could have done anything with it. It's up to you. You're 100% responsible because I can't control your thoughts. Only you can do that. And however you see the world is what the world will be. It's that simple. Are you ready for this? We are going into this. I'm seeing millions of people go into this, and they're seeing the world differently, and they are no longer bothered by certain things, but they're becoming the change. They're living it. They're physically feeling it. I think I told you I had a mellow mint or something like that. You know those chocolate-covered mints? I used to love those. About a few months ago, I thought, oh, I'll have one. Mint and chocolate. It tasted like chemicals to me, because it is. I've gotten so used to not eating any of that stuff that when you have some, your body knows it. But right now, so many people don't know the difference of anything anymore. From how we live and talk to each other, we don't know the difference. And when you get away from that, all of a sudden you can't watch the news because it's so ridiculous to you. And some of you are still addicted to it because you're believing it. Why would you watch it? If I got on there and told you fairy tales and there were really nasty ones, that energy field stays with you and it's not real. So why would you expose yourself to that? You have to make some seriously tough decisions right now if you're still addicted to these things. The foods, the Xbox, all that stuff. I know. I'm not telling you to give up everything. I'm telling you that it's time to ask yourself what value each of these is bringing, not just to you, but the planet, to everyone, because it's an energy field and it's a frequency you're putting out there. It's in the collective. And the more we escape to a false world, the more we stay in a matrix that is structured. We are breaking through the matrix because we're the creators of it. It's not imposed on us. We create it. And that's what the new earth is. We can create a matrix program, because it's still illusion too, that is different. Now, what did I quote out of the Bible? Heaven and earth shall pass away, but my word shall never pass away. So what does that mean? Heaven and earth shall pass away, but my word shall not. Heaven and earth will pass away? How's that possible? Because they're illusions. Even heaven's an illusion. What? Yeah, heaven's an illusion. Why? Because it's just another frequency that we go to outside of our bodies. There's something way beyond that. It's way beyond heaven. Everything's heaven. So there's no heaven anymore. When you live in a place where there's heaven and hell, then heaven's an illusion. But when you go past that, everything's just bliss. So you don't call it heaven anymore, because it's like if you're in the ocean and it's blue and you've never seen anything but blue, then you don't call it blue. Blue doesn't exist because there's nothing to compare it to. Heaven, we're comparing it to someplace else. So when we go past it, the illusion dissolves. You realize you always were perfect and unconditional love, and that's it. There's no heaven and hell. It's all illusion. It's experience. I know, I'm going way into advanced stuff. So are you ready for the great reset, the recalibration of every area of your life? Take a good look at it. Come on over. Free videos. You can click on this one. This is for the internet training. These are free. Check it out. Just tells you what we offer. This one down here is my free videos. And then you have special discounts and offers and free stuff. I have webinars, free webinars that I'm going to be sending out. I don't know what else to do. If you don't take it, if you don't receive my gifts, you know who the rightful owner is? The person who gives it. Be careful what you give somebody else. If it's judgment, you're the one receiving it. You are whole and perfect, strong and powerful, loving, harmonious, and happy. Blessings to you, my perfect light being. Know this. Namaste.